Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. I've been looking at a lot of pre-built gaming rigs lately because the market is getting crowded, and I know a lot of you are wondering whether it's worth throwing a big chunk of cash at a system that promises top-tier specs but might end up gathering dust in a corner. This isn't a hype-driven unboxing, this is a practical look at what you actually get when you plug in the Corsair Vengeance i5100, how it behaves day to day, and who should consider it versus who would be better off spending that money elsewhere. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have with high-end pre-built PCs is the hidden trade-offs. You see a brand new Intel Core i9-14900KF paired with a NVIDIA RTX 4080 Super, a 2TB NVMe SSD, and a flashy RGB case. It looks like a dream machine on paper, but the reality can be quite different once you start using it for long gaming sessions, streaming, or even just everyday tasks like web browsing and office work. The i5100 tries to solve a classic problem: you want raw performance without having to spend weeks picking parts, building, and troubleshooting. The downside is that you're also buying the vendor's decisions on cooling, cable management, and future upgrade paths, which may or may not line up with your personal preferences. Let's talk about the actual hardware. The heart of this system is a 14th Gen Intel Core i9-14900KF. In my testing, that CPU delivers the kind of single-core speed you want for titles that still favor clock speed over parallelism. Think classic shooters like Valorant or newer titles that haven't fully embraced multi-threading. In multi-core workloads, video encoding, 3D rendering, or streaming while gaming, the i9 still holds its own, but you'll notice the power draw spikes dramatically under sustained load. That's where the liquid cooler and the 9 RGB fans in the iCUE Link 2500X case come into play. From a practical standpoint, the H150i liquid cooler does keep temperatures in the low 70s Celsius under a full gaming session, with the RTX 4080 Super pushing its limits. The fans are decent at moving air, but the case's dual-chamber design creates a bit of a bottleneck when you try to push the GPU past 80% utilization for extended periods. I ran a 30-minute marathon in Cyberpunk 2077 at 1440p ultra settings, and while the GPU stayed under 78% load, the case temperature hovered around 45°C, which is fine for a short session but could become uncomfortable if your room is already warm. In short, the cooling solution works, but it's not a perfect heat pipe. It relies on decent ambient conditions and may need a tweak, like adding a couple more intake fans if you plan on overclocking or running the system in a hot environment. The RTX 4080 Super is the headline graphics card, and it delivers the expected performance. You can hit 1440p high refresh rates in most modern titles, and even dip into 4K for less demanding games. What matters in everyday use is how the GPU handles drivers and software updates. Corsair's pre-built comes with the latest NVIDIA drivers at ship time, and the iCUE software integrates the GPU's profile for fan curves and RGB synchronization. That integration is handy if you like a single-pane view of system stats, but it also adds a layer of software you might have to manage if you prefer a lean Windows install. I found the iCUE interface responsive, but it can become a bit chatty if you enable every telemetry option, so it's worth turning off the non-essential alerts if you don't need them. Now, let's address storage and memory. The 2TB M.2 SSD is fast sequential reads in the 7GB per second range, and it provides ample space for a modern game library, OS, and a few creative workloads. If you're a content creator who also edits 4K footage, you'll notice the SSD handles large file transfers smoothly, but you might still crave a secondary drive for archival purposes. The 32GB of Corsair Dominator titanium DDR5 RAM runs at 5600 MHz, which is more than enough for gaming and multitasking. In practice, you won't see a noticeable difference between 32GB and 16GB for most games, but the extra headroom helps if you keep a bunch of browsers, Discord, and streaming software open while you play. Who should actually buy this machine? If you're a gamer who wants top-tier performance right out of the box, doesn't want to spend weekends puzzling over BIOS settings, and appreciates an aesthetic that matches a modern gaming setup, the i5100 checks those boxes. It also fits well for streamers who need a solid QuickBook combo for handling both the game and the encode simultaneously. As long as they're okay with the case's moderate noise level. The fans can be a little audible under full load, though the liquid cooler itself is relatively quiet. On the flip side, if you're a budget-conscious buyer, say you're looking to spend under $2,000 for a 1080p rig, or you enjoy the hands-on experience of customizing cables, swapping coolers, or planning future upgrades, this pre-built may feel like overkill. The 9-fan configuration and the dual-chamber case.